is what he says scholars had overlooked. And it links El to the earth. And then he discusses the Sumerian cosmology and the connection of El with the primeval sea, and El's wife, who goes by the epithet of Atarat of the sea. Again, the gods are married, and they're associated with different aspects of the creation. This hasn't been outdated or refuted, it's actually been strengthened. His emphasis is showing how the deity El and Elyon in Genesis 14 are two separate deities, and El has been associated with the earth, while Elyon means the highest. And Margaret Barker has an analysis of the etymology of that aspect using the Old Testament that I'll get to in her book, The Older Testament, on the name of Elyon. It's very interesting how he puts together using the inscriptional evidence and the archaeological materials, how he is using the emphasis of El's function on earth. Very, very interesting. He goes through the Greek inscriptions of Zeus Poseidon, and this is another instance of El, the Lord of Earth. If I'm not totally mistaken, this is on page 8 of De La Vida. If I'm not totally mistaken, we possess another epigraphic evidence of the identification of Poseidon, not only with El, but actually with El Kone Eretz, El, the creator of the earth, or the producer of the earth. Very interesting. There's a bilingual inscription from Palmyra, he says, dating June 39 AD, bears the Greek part of a dedication to the god of Poseidon. The corresponding name, however, does not. He suggests reading this as a description of El, not Poseidon, but the two are connected. So he sums up on page 8, he sums up, and I'll give you that summary. He says, to sum it all up, he says, the Sugan inscription proves that El and Elyon were two separate deities. And from the Leptis Magna inscription, we gain the evidence of the worship of El Kone Eretz. This is Lord of Earth, El, the Lord of Earth. What we know about the Canaanite god El points toward his connection with earth, not with heaven. Now, this has been outdated. This particular information on pages 8 and 9, he is the Lord of earth, but he has also been shown to be the Lord of heaven. He's the high god of the heavenly pantheon, as Mark Smith has shown. On the other hand, the celestial character of Elyon needs no demonstration. We know that the Elyon was a celestial deity. The conclusion in regard to the passage of Genesis 14 is self-evident. Elyon, the Lord of heaven and earth, corresponds to no actual deity in the Canaanite pantheon. He has been artificially set up through the combination of El, the Lord of earth, with Elyon, the Lord of heaven. In other words, he is the result of theological speculation. You notice what he's saying here. He's saying theological speculation concerning the monotheistic tendency in the Old Testament has combined the deities to suppose that there was only a monotheism, whereas the actual inscriptional evidence and the archaeological materials show that these are various separate deities. Very interesting. I thought that was interesting. He says the identifier, he says the person who did this combining of the deities, in order to reach this aim, he boldly merged two of the chief deities of the Canaanite pantheon into one being, which represents, together with the creator of heaven and earth of Genesis 1, represents the closest approach to monotheism throughout the whole book of Genesis. That was the later theological speculation, was monotheism. He calls monotheism a theological speculation. See, this is a major fundamental doctrinal change in the Hebrew Old Testament. They knew there was a polytheism going on. Later theologians combined all the deities, crammed them all into Yahweh, basically, is the idea. But as we go back into time, we can see that this polytheistic picture of the married gods and siring children, this was the earlier religion of which the later crust of monotheism was buried, the earlier polytheism. I think that's a very important article to keep in mind.